you've heard of go woke, go broke, and that does rhyme. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be true. Like, the phrase describes, it seems to often be about films and computer games. Like, oh, you've got a black person in your computer game, you're gonna sell nothing, and then it turns out actually they sell fine, and the amount of money they make on a game or film seems to be based on how good it is rather than whether it's got an LGBT person in or not. But I think a more true one is specifically for center-left posing politicians is go transphobic, go broke. It doesn't rhyme as well. Someone in the chat is saying go fash, no cash. But anyway, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, recently did some series of podcasts where he invited on like a bunch of fascists, basically. And in the first episode, I think, he had like Charlie Kirk on, who's some fascist knobhead with a really small face, who and they like bonded over how much they hate trans people. And this was obviously like some kind of strategic political move for him. Looking at the landscape in American politics, people are repositioning themselves, and at least some of the like centrists who are on the Democrat side believe that maybe if they are socially conservative, aka they think women and black people and trans people and gay people and stuff are inferior, then they might be able to win. That might be where the new like dial is, and they might be able to win the Democratic presidency if they're like, oh, okay, we also hate LGBT people, but we're not going to destroy the economy like Trump does or whatever. So at least some of them have positioned themselves in that way. Some of them are like true believers, where they believe in neoliberalism and they also believe in hating LGBT people. I doubt this guy thinks that. I doubt he really cares at all. I think he's probably just like a robot who doesn't have any real opinions. Anyway, he's obviously made a calculated political decision to hate on trans people in order to try and get votes. So how's that gone? Well, we've got a summary here of the things mentioned in the article from Yasha Ali. Says that Gavin Newsom's favourability amongst liberals from his series of podcasts alone in a very short space of time has dropped from 46 to 30%. While some Republicans agreed with his stances, they overwhelmingly viewed him as insincere, calling him fake and pandering. His net favourability dropped from +4 to -6, a 10-point swing in the wrong direction. Only 13% of voters had an improved perception of him, and only 1 in 5 said the podcast made them want to tune in for more. So, this, like, I don't really know why some people who believe themselves to be on the left are so convinced that they just need to keep moving right. I don't know why they feel they need to keep appealing to people on the right of them and like push away people on the left of them all the time. And especially when you're like the governor of California, when you're like, if you're already far left or something, then most people are on the right of you. So you want to appeal to at least some of them in order to get in power. When you're like a Democrat already, you're like right wing. So most people are to the left of you, especially if you're like some multi-millionaire state governor of the richest state. Most people are to the left of you. So why do you keep trying to appeal right? Like, if someone is already transphobic, they're going to vote for Donald Trump, right? They're already going to vote right because being transphobic is a core part of their personality. Someone like J.K. Rowling or whatever, that's their whole personality. Why would they vote for someone else who's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm transphobic, but I'm just nicer. I'm not quite as transphobic." I'm like, yeah, I agree with you on some things, but not on everything. Maybe we shouldn't take away all trans people's rights. But I'm still transphobic. Don't get the wrong idea. Why would they vote for you? They don't. They'll just be like, well, yeah, but you're not transphobic enough. You're a fake. You're a poser. You're not sincere, or whatever. Especially when you've only just seemed to have changed your mind overnight. But then why would anyone to the left of you, or even where you previously stood before, still support you? Like, you're loudly appealing to, like, the far right in a really obnoxious, horrible, factually incorrect way. How is, like, I feel like people like this guy take their people who vote for them entirely for granted and feel like they can't lose that vote. It's like, oh, well, everyone on the left has to vote for me, so now all I've got to do is appeal to the right. But they don't have to, and that's like why the Democrats lost, isn't it? Because they weren't appealing to left-wing people. They weren't saying popular things that people actually want to hear and support. And but also, like, the undecideds, or the people who are centrists, or the people who don't, like, most people don't care about trans people at all. So you're not going to gain anything from this. Like, there's like nothing to gain, and there's a lot to lose. You could lose. Like, I didn't have an opinion on Gavin Newsom up until now. Now I hate him. If I was American, I wouldn't vote for him. So he's obviously going to lose all the LGBT votes, but he's also going to lose the votes of people who are like, oh, why is his first guest was a Nazi? Like, well, that's a bit sus, isn't it? Like, it's not like, oh yeah, let's get someone else on from the left who I disagree with, and we can disagree on the best policies for, like, how the Democrats can win the next election, or let's disagree on left-wing politics. Or, I mean, if you want to have a fucking argument, find two leftists. They're like the easiest, the most argumentative people on earth. There's so much room on the, like, left-wing side of politics to have arguments and discussions and interesting political debates, which can get very heated. And why would you need to get some far-right wacko on and say you agree with him on hating some minority? Like, it just makes you suspicious. So you seem to everyone right of you who you're trying to appeal to, they're like, well, you're a poser, and the guy I vote for is already doing this better. And for everyone to the left of you, they're like, well, what the fuck is this? You're right wing now, are you? Well, okay, I'm not interested in you anymore. It is just such a political suicide for them to think they can solve. The Democratic Party is totally failed. Like, absolutely bottomed out. Everything they do, everything they stand for, everything that they've been trying, they need to totally rebrand, totally redesign, build from the bottom up. And I think a lot of them know that. Like, Gavin Newsom has obviously worked that out to some degree. But if they think they can do it by having exactly the same political positions apart from more transphobic or more sexist or more racist or something, or more anti-disabled like they're trying to do in the UK, then it's not going to work, is it? They're just going to lose the only votes they do have. And they're not going to gain any. So anyway, here we're seeing it playing out. And I think this is just going to be the case for lots of them. I think that lots of, like, incumbent centre-left politicians in the UK, US and other countries are going to find out that becoming Trump-light is, like, the quickest way to lose their base and will not benefit them at all. And they're probably not capable of moving further left and actually caring about stuff, because that's probably not the kind of person they are. And they'll just have to be replaced, and we'll just need a new movement that doesn't include them. I just feel like that's the only, like, if you're the kind of person who's going to have a Nazi on a podcast and say you hate trans people, you're not the kind of person who, after 1 year of reflection, is going to be like, actually, we should have workers' rights. Like, it, yeah. He's just revealed himself to be a bit of a grifter, and then that's the end of it, really, I think. We'll see. America might not even have elections again anyway, so what we fussing about?